Hello there, subscribers, my former fanatics, and now I should call you scholarly subscribers. Yes, it's been a while, but I am back again to talk about Middle Earth Strategy Battle Game. So, a lot of you that have started subscribing have been with me for over a year and a half, almost 2 years now, joined in because of my passion for MESBG. And while that passion has waned over the last 8 to 10 months, it is not forgotten. So, for those of you who have been furiously trying to follow along and been like, dude, where's your MESBG content? You've got it with these crappy ass videos of Lord of the Rings, the Third Age, and the Return of the King video games, and now you're putting Jeep shit. What is this? Just know that I always love you guys, and I always will appreciate it. But people change, as do hobbies. So, for example, Jeeping is now my current big hobby. But, that being said, we are turning back to MESBG at least for this weekend. So I'm here to talk to you today about, oh my gosh, I'm running another event. Yeah, I know, it's kind of a giveaway by the title block and the subject line, but here it is. I will be running a small localish event called the Scaring of the Shire. Yeah, like that play on words. Halloween's coming right around the corner, so it's not the scoring of the Shire, or scouring, however you want to say it. It's the scaring of the Shire. I like a little play on words for all of my events. So that is what we will be looking at and doing today. So I'm just going to give a quick video while having some photos and maybe a little bit of a battle report playing in the background so you guys have something visual cues while I'm talking. But I'm going to talk about the event. So it's going to be this Saturday, the 8th of October. It's going to be a long day. So I've made this 4 rounds, and I expect it to take almost 12 hours. So doors are going to be opening at 8, and then I'm hoping to be done by 7 p.m. You know how it goes. It should always be done by a certain time, but add at least 30 to 45 minutes due to late game plays or lunch runs over or, just timekeeping and just things of that nature. So it's going to be a long day, which is cool because everybody that's coming is really great players, really laid back players, and it should be fun. And hey, I get to play, right? First event all freaking year. So my one and only event of 2022 is going to be in this event. So this is going to be a little bit different. It's going to be one-on-one games, but we're doing teams. So every player is partnered up with another player, and final rankings will be based upon both players' combined scores. So this was done a few years ago. I think it was back in 2019 by another group, and I really like the idea, and I'm taking this and running with it. So obviously it's a Halloween-themed event, so I have added a little bit of a bonus to it, and that is if both players of a team come dressed in a Halloween costume of some sort. I mean, it can be as simple as throwing on a sports jersey and being like, hey, I play for this team, to as extravagant as like full-on LARPing. So, yeah. I had made it where there were different categories, but I decided that ended up making it too much of a boost for folks who really have the time and the money to put in and make a full costume. For those of us who work 60 hours a week, hey, that's me. To just be able to do something simple. So it is going to be something simple for this bonus, and that's if both players dress up, then the team is going to be given a swap/veto token. And that token is simply exactly what it sounds like. If you or your opponent, or your teammate, get matched up in a situation where you think it would be better for you guys to swap opponents, and that gives you a better matchup, then you can use the swap token. Now that being said, if you're swapping, there's a likely possibility, extremely likely, that you'll be swapping against 2 different teams. If either of those teams, or in the very rare instance that you swap against just a single team, decide, I don't want to swap. This doesn't set me up for, success. And their team decides to veto it, they may use their swap/veto token to veto it. And in that case, both teams will lose their swap/veto token. So I don't expect a lot of swapping to go on, to be completely honest. But if it does, the opportunity is there to kind of make, some gamesmanship going on. That being said, if a team doesn't use that token, then they will receive an extra TP to the team's score at the end of the event. So a good way to maybe just play the hand that you're dealt, like in most events, that's how you're just going to end up getting who you're dealt against, based on standings and however the matchups are done. Mine is always based on rankings. So top 2 play each other, top 3 and 4, 5 and 6, so on and so forth. As you play from round to round, as things switch around, that's how we do it. So that's my way of doing it. That's always been how I do it. That's how I'm always going to do it. I know there's some people who are like, oh, but the Swiss style. I don't give a shit. This is the way I do events, and this is the way I've always done events. I'm not going to change it now after running over a dozen successfully. So that's what's going on there. I think it'll be interesting to see how that plays out team-wise and swap-wise. So this is actually going to be an attrition event. So it's a de-escalation for those who don't know what the word attrition means, or those who know what it is, but you're not paying attention enough, so I'm making fun of you right now. Ha ha. So we're going to start at 700 points, and we're going to go 4 rounds, and each round will depreciate by 100 points. So round 1, 700, round 2, 600, round 3 is 500, and round 4 is 400. I know, I'm doing the math for you guys. You're welcome. I've put no bans on armies. The only things I have banned are Tom Bombadil, Goldberry, Smaug, and siege weapons, because siege weapons are asininely broken and they ruin the fun of the game. And Goldberry and Tom Bombadil are also equally broken. And Smaug is impossible to play at this because he's 700 points and you can't, de-escalate from him. Ooh, excuse me. So legendary legions are allowed, ally matrix are allowed, so on and so forth. We will be playing with the newest rules models from what was the latest release? The War in the North, I think it was, or something like that. Defense of the North, that's it. So pretty simple, standard rules there. One thing I decided to throw in to make this a little bit, I wouldn't say cheeky, but make you think a little bit when building lists. And I got a lot of, I wouldn't call it positive feedback, but in my opinion, it's positive feedback because it's what I wanted people to do. When building the list, I made it so that if you, for example, at your 700 point list had 10 bows, 10 shields, and 10 spears for war gear, then at 600, you could not exceed that because it's an attrition event. Your army's going into battle, it's taking casualties, soldiers are retreating and fleeing the battlefield. War gear gets left behind. It's part of every war ever. Combat leads to lost supplies. That's always going to happen. So if you went into the next round and you went from 10, 10, and 10 to, we'll say just for simplicity's sake, 9, 9, and 9, when it comes to the third round, you couldn't go like 8, 10, and 8 or something like that. You had to maintain no more than what you had from the last round. So you can't add, but you can always subtract individual war gear items. So I think that's interesting. And I actually had a question about, well, what are heroes? I was like, well, a shield is a shield. The only difference is that a hero's shield always counts, more than a warrior shield. So if you're going to move the shield from a warrior to a hero, well, yeah, obviously a hero can pick up a shield. But because the game is the game, it's going to cost him 5 times the amount of points to do it. So yeah, a little bit of interesting there. So, yep. Painting bonus, or painting requirement. I didn't put any. I did say that only fully painted are allowed to podium. Sounds like a lot of people aren't going to be getting there. So, whatever. Let's see. What else? I think that's pretty much everything to talk about. I'm doing my normal scoring method of major, minor, draw, minor loss, major loss. So 4, 3, 2, 1, and 0 TPs. I know, again, that's not what the book says. For those who have done any of my events or watched any of my events, there you go. That's how it's going to run. But Oh, okay. So the only other thing we're going to do is we're going to do scenarios a little different. Instead of me pre-selecting scenarios, we're actually going to have it so that the scenarios are going to be decided by the player. So I have selected the pools, um, and I'll talk about that in my recap because I put my paper over there and I don't feel like getting up off my butt to go get it. Um, so there's going to be 4 pools. The way it's going to work is both players are going to roll a dice. Lowest rolling player removes one of the 3 scenarios from the pool until there's 2 left. And then the higher rolling player eliminates the second of the 3 scenarios, and then the last one left is the one that will be played. So a little bit of gamesmanship when it comes to dicing right there. Um, it's one of those things where bad rolls could really mess you up. But at the same time, sometimes you don't want to be the guy who has to decide the scenario. So you can just roll low and get rid of a scenario that really benefits you. So, I think it'll be interesting. I heard that's a new way that some TOs are doing it, and I want to try it out. So we're going to try that. Otherwise, should be a fun event. I am going to be recording. Hopefully, I can get at least 1 game per round. That's the goal. So there should be 4 battle reports coming in successive weeks once I get everything in. It's going to be a busy weekend for me this week. I've got this going on Saturday, and then Sunday I have a Jeep event going on, and then next Saturday I have a Jeep event going on. So I probably won't be putting up any battle reports until at least the week of the 17th, I want to say. Yeah. So look forward to that. As always, thank you guys for watching. Please like, share, subscribe, and I will see you next time on our scholarly adventure.